Greetings, everybody. This is Leviathan here, and today we've got the start date for Season 22 for the upcoming Diablo 3 hype. That's right, it's coming up November 20th, which is 2 Fridays from right now. Today is November 6th. And that is the main news that we're taking away from today's blog post that just went up on the Diablo website. Another thing to note is that they actually give us a preview date for the coming patch, 2.6.10. And that's November 10th. So that's actually great because we'll get a nice downtime between Season 21 and 22, and we'll also have the patch to preoccupy us during that time. You can get some non-seasonal testing in on the new items and things that were introduced with this patch, and we can go over quickly. I won't take too much of your time. A link to this blog post will be in the video description, so feel free to check that out if you want to go over everything for yourself. We'll just do like a broad overview of everything in here for Season 22. It doesn't look like there were any changes from the last PTR update to what we're having here as the patch notes for the actual patch. So if you were familiar with the end of things at the PTR, it looks like that is what will be live. But I'm thinking that we'll get this patch on the 10th, and there will be people testing such, especially since more people play the actual game when it's out live versus on the PTR servers for testing. So we may find that there are more bugs or things to hash out, which I honestly believe is why now we get these patches that come out a little before the season, where usually it's the week of, right? If you were going back to tradition, it would be November 17th when the patch would come out, and then 3 days later the season would start. So maybe this gives them a little bit of time to react if there's any truly game-breaking things happening, and you know, a little bit more lead time to fix that before the actual season hits. In any case, as you may have recalled from previous videos that I've done, we have the season theme for Season 22, which is all about shadow clones. So whenever you touch a shrine or a pylon, it's going to make a 1 of 3 shadow clones for your class. On the PTR, they were performing quite well. There was definitely variance between the different ones you could get for your class, but Blizzard has since made changes to them so they're a little more solid, not only between the variations that you can get, but also between the classes themselves, because there were some that were kind of performing better, like for instance for Demon Hunter or Necro, I believe, and then the Crusader, for instance, would just like falling sword and go away. There's some pretty crazy stuff going on, but it seems like it's all been ironed out now so that they should be very effective. And what's really nice, in my opinion, is that the shadow clones will be effective when you're leveling from 1 to 70. They're quite strong. For speed greater rifting, so around that 100 to 110, maybe 120 range. And then once you're starting to get into the pushing realm of solo push, 130, 140 and such, they actually fade out a little bit. They can help, but they don't carry the greater rift. And I think that's a great change from some of these environmental additions that we've seen in past seasons, where the environmental effect is the end all be all. It either works perfectly or you RNG into a bad situation and you lose your entire Greater Rift push. So I'm very much looking forward to trying this season out and getting the clones to help but not carry through the game. I'm really excited about that. In addition, do not forget that all season long there will also be a 4th cube slot in Kanai's Cube. It's the wild card slot. You can take any power that's available to your class and throw it into there. So whether that be a weapon, an offhand, a jewelry, armor, any of that stuff goes. So you will see some refinement to some of the existing builds. Some of them will benefit quite a bit from this cube slot. Some of them just a little extra, you know, a little more damage or a little more safety, more utility. Some of them will change wildly though, so look forward to that. I might put up some build guides from myself. There's plenty in the community that people did from testing, and I'm sure you'll see solidifications to those, especially next week once the patch is live and people are 100% solid on what they will be doing for the season. So keep an eye out. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep you updated as much as I can. As far as cosmetic rewards, you have a lot of stuff that's from the past coming back. So if you missed any of the previous season stuff, you can now earn it again. They're going through a bit of a cycle here. But for new stuff, again, reaching the end of the seasonal journey, getting to that Guardian tier and completing that, then you have a particular portrait frame and a pet. It's like a Deckard Cain, you know, book of identification kind of thing going on here, and a Lost Civilization portrait frame. So if you like earning cosmetics, I always try to get all of them. This will be worth it. make sure you go ahead and get your whole season journey done. It's not bad at all, especially if you actually just focus on it. You can usually get that done, honestly, within the first weekend, but for those that take a little extra time, within the first week for sure. This details some of the seasonal journey requirements to get those steps done. You could read that on your own time. Nothing new or compelling there. The conquests are here. We've talked about that in a previous video. There will be a link to that in the video description as well, where I go over some strategies and tips on how to quickly do all the seasonal, all the conquests. I'm very familiar with these. I've gotten high ranks in them in the past, so you can take my word. I got you covered. These ones in particular, though, are relatively grindy and not the most fun, in my opinion, but they're there. We can do them. It's fine. As far as Haedrig's Gift, this is a really sick one this time around because they're finally adding in the new sets for each class into the Haedrig's Gift rotation. They mentioned that right here. So what's really, really awesome is you pretty much have a great start for any class that you play. So many of these sets are very, very powerful. They introduce great builds that can enable you to really fit in wherever you might get it in. So for instance, as the Barb, if you're going for the Frenzy playstyle, that's going to likely suit you as the RGK because it's a great single target. You can do that and also prepare your support Barb along the way. It's really great if you're going to be in group play. Take the Barb, especially because it looks like rat runs with the Necromancers and Z-Barbs are going to be the best way to speed farm GRs this coming season. So Barbs will be in need. For the Crusader, Aegis of Valor, again, the premier RGK. This is the setup that people will be using to take down our Rift Guardians and like GR 150s with really disgusting times, especially with the right circumstances. So you don't necessarily need that to start, of course, because groups will, you know, take whatever and then kind of refine further along the way. But that's something that in general is just a strong set too. You can also do great speed farming with Fist of the Heavens with Aegis of Valor. So not a bad way to start. Plus, some of the changes that came in this patch were for Bombardment with Thorns. So that's actually going to be probably the strongest build for solo play, the Crusader Bombardment, bringing back some of the old lawn bombardment feels from the sort of middle of seasons, back in season like 9, 8, 10-ish or so. So you can look forward to that. You're going to see crazy output from that. Even though they even took the power of it down during PTR, it's still very, very strong. Not necessarily enough to make a dent in groups, but really great for solo. Demon Hunter's God, it's unchanged. Demon Hunter is looking to be still one of the best speed farm setups, still one of the best pushers. Not really much place in groups outside of maybe some exotic supports, ZDH you might see, but for, and maybe some speeds too, but obviously again, rats are going to be the best speeds, so you'll find a hard time putting GOD groups together, but they might exist for people that like off meta. Either way, if you're a solo DH, you got the set that you need. This will rule them all. Rifts, bounties, greater rifts for speeds, pushing greater rifts, it's all you need. So a really great start for DH. Patterns of Justice, again, another pristine set. It actually will be the premier pusher for this season for the monks, because again, you'll be able to combine it with the Shenlong set and get that really weird gameplay. Personally, not one of my favorites, but it does provide the build with really, really great damage output. So you'll see that on the boards. And Patterns of Justice in general is great for speed farming as well. Plus, it can help you build out your LOD Wave of Light for really great speed farming in like the T16 low tier GR setups. Witch Doctor, Mundanugu, it's really all they've got these days. It's their best speed farm setup. It's their best pushing setup. So again, you get that right off the bat. Not bad if you want to go Witch Doctor. Typhon's Veil, there have been some updates to Hydras in general with this patch. Performing decently well, but there's a lot of reliance on Death Wish. So again, this whole channeling idea. And things like that, I don't know. I do feel a bit bad for the Wizards because it doesn't feel like their position is as improved as people would have liked. However, this should still make for a solid start. Some people still don't like the way that the damage reduction works in Typhon's Veil. I'm definitely feeling for them. So it is what it is. It's probably the weakest start of all the classes, but again, still very capable. And last but not least, Necromancers. They got the Masquerade of Burning Carnival here. This got some additional help from adding a new item for the Necromancers and Bracers that boost up the Bone Spear damage, and there have been a lot of testing going on. Again, Necromancers are going to be all over the place this season because of the return of rats. Have they ever left, really, though? And you'll have a lot of chances to get Necromancer gear if you're going to be doing that meta. So naturally, you'll probably put together some crazy Bone Spear stuff, and it's proving to be quite strong. So keep an eye out for that as people decide to test more things out and get deeper into the possibilities of the season. Again, I was making reference to the patch notes. I won't go over all of them because we have done that in the past. I'll put a link to video description, or put a link in the video description of that previous reading. Again, there have been some updates since the beginning of PTR, but for the most part, not much has changed. The strong stuff, these are all the variations, like I was mentioning, for the shadow clones that you can get during the season. Again, from touching a pylon or a shrine, rifts, greater rifts, regular adventure mode as well, all that applies. This is just letting us know a couple of the different things. There are these bracers I was talking about for the necromancers. Again, lots of stuff for the wizard. Twisted Sword is bringing back the energy twister. That's looking to be quite strong too, and they've worked out some of the kinks there so it's not as laggy, because on PTR it was pretty brutal. Hopefully this will make it a bit more playable, and it has been performing in a strong way, so there's that for the wizards to at least get a little hope from. There I've seen some cool things going on with DMO, Delcer's Magnum Opus, and the Frost Orb and things like that, so a bit of a divergent gameplay for some of the stuff you might normally be used to on the wizard. You can check that out. This Norvald's Fervor change has just been one of the things pushing forward all these new Crusader improvements, as well as all the buffs to the bombardment stuff in general with Belt of the Trove, Mortal Drama. They did change Thorns of the Invoker so that the gameplay of adding in the 2-piece, which was really bolstering the bombardment setup, won't be as great, but the Invoker set itself will not suffer because they moved a lot of the power to the 6-piece. So if you do just like pure Invoker, you shouldn't feel too bad about this change. But for those that were seeing the crazy results of bombardment on PTR, again, that will be brought down a bit, but still very, very good, especially for solo. This whole Angry Chicken thing apparently did not quite work out from what I've heard in the community. It's good, but it's still just not there. It doesn't beat the Mundanugu speed farming, so you can try it, but you might not like the results. And they also added some stuff for zombie bears. I've heard that's kind of lukewarm. Some people are okay with it. Like, people want it to be stronger or more useful, so you might see further changes to that down the road, but as it is what it is. And last but not least, some monk stuff. Again, Uliana's, people really love that Uliana gameplay. It got way more damage reduction, which is incredible, but it's still not quite there, I've heard. It'll definitely be better than it ever has, but it still needs more love, so we'll see if that does come in the future. I know a lot of people would like to really have Uliana return to the top, or at least be competitive, because it's such a satisfying gameplay with those huge pops and explosions, especially that cold damage pop, just seeing everything crystallize and explode. It would be really great, but as it stands, POJ is just insane. The Tempest Rush stuff is too good, so you're gonna have a hard time defeating that for now. And then this Barb stuff made it a lot easier to itemize your Leapquake setups. I'm not sure it's gonna wreck the leaderboards as far as Barb goes. I think you're kind of tied into what you had previously for Barb, so nothing too major changing there, but just something to be aware of in case one of your favorite loves is Leapquake. It is better now. And that's really it. A couple bug fixes as well. Again, links to everything in the video description. Check there if you want more information. Just wanted to dump all this stuff on you. Feel free to hop into the comments. Let me know where you're at now. Are you hyped for this November 20th start date? What class will you be starting? What are you looking forward to? I'm personally going to be going hardcore, solo self-found, Demon Hunter, and just playing the crap out of Season 22. I'm really thinking I'll dig into this one. It's been a while since I played some Diablo 3, admittedly, so, you know, I'm feeling it. I got the itch. I want to get back in. Let's talk it up in the comments. I'll be there replying to you guys. Really appreciate everyone checking out the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Adios for now.